With serpentine DNA, I've had a vision of myself as a reptilian or serpent being.
Well, I'm glad that question came up, because when you understand the mythology of Superman, when you he draws most of his energy uh, from the tri-solar system. When you're talking about a red sun, a blue sun, and the yellow sun, so that is the color spectrum of his garments is acclimated to the sun. So when you look at the logo on Superman's chest, is a serpent in the middle with a pyramid. So in order to vibrate at a higher frequency, you got to activate that serpentine energy, which turns you into a god, which activates the god particle, which is the neuroendocrine transducer. So we all have that serpentine energy within us. You know, it is just based on if you're able to tap into the energy of the source and connect to that sun. So that's how, like I said, that's how he was able to activate that god body and the kundalini energy, that serpentine wisdom.
Mm.
So we
Okay.
all have that. We all have those activations.
Uh okay, let me get to this. This is a little lengthy question. If the mind is all and the universe is mental, why is there so much focus on all the physical stuff? Like everything is killing us and all the bad stuff around the corner and aliens, etc.
To look to where you have external stimulation, because they know that everything's internal. Because when you look in uh, through external stimulation, that means that you don't have a veneration for everything, that's to where you tap into the dark night of the soul. You cannot, you know what I'm saying, you cannot deviate from the system, because like I said, they supplicate your emotions and they transmute it into a weakness. And they know that your weakness is connected to the physical world. So in order to deviate from the physical construct, you have to not have a veneration for people, places, and possessions. So much to the point, like I said, it becomes a weakness.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Um, so many questions popping up. When I sun gaze, I can't tell if the sun is blue or if it's a hole. What are your thoughts?
Well, well, in my opinion, like I said, the sun in itself, the eyes is quartz crystal. So the eye, like I said, when you're vibrating at a certain frequency, when you tap into the energy of the sun, when you're doing sun gazing and that stuff, a lot of times, like I said, that can activate, you know, the pineal gland. So due to the fact that we can only see 10% of the electromagnetic spectrum, so like I said, dude, when you tap into sun gazing, this is how you know that, you know, it's maybe taking you into a different place to where you can tap into certain color spectrums just by looking at sun gazing at the sun.
Indeed, indeed. All right. Let's get to the next question. Do you think this is a simulation? If so, what is it for? Matrix.
Yeah, we're definitely living in a simulation for the archons. So this is basically everything is the three-dimensional reality is controlled by the demiurge. So like I said, when you understand the concept of the Saturn Moon Matrix, um, everything is based on mind manipulation, materialism. So everything is basically a how can I say, it's a program. Like being a teacher, that's a program. Being a police officer, that's a program. Being a pastor or a preacher, everything on this planet is a program to where you have external stimulation to where you don't look internal.
Mm. All right. Next question. Can you, oh, this is the same guy. I'm gonna ask this question now. Can you speak on semen retention and how it expands our electromagnetic field?
Well, semen retention, like I said, they know that this is why they perpetuate sexual gratification, where you're talking about pornography. The reason they promote that because they know that our sexual energy is conducive to our evolution and ascension process. So if you're draining your energy, like your semen is also connected to brain matter. So that slows down the neural synapses to where you won't activate the neurotransmitters, which activates uh, the God particle.
Mm.
So, like I said, they know that our sexual energy has the ability to vibrate at a higher frequency to where you can ascend out of the matrix system. So, if you're draining your life force, you're draining your soul.
Okay, okay. Next question. Does spirituality matter if we're all in a simulation?
Yeah, because this is a learning experience. You're here to master yourself. So,
Hmm.
when I'm talking about, hold on, let me get this.
Okay.
When you're talking about Islam, Islam is not really a connected to monotheistic religion. Once you get to the inception point, it means internal self law, internal self law and management, to where you have management and you master yourself on this three-dimensional paradigm, to where you deviate from all the afflictions of the matrix system, which is conducive to I self law and master.
Hmm.
So you master yourself. You're here to master yourself to where you can ascend. This is a school.
Okay. The next question. Do the archons have us in a soul trap?
Yes, all monotheistic religions is a soul trap. All genetically modified foods is connected to the nanotechnologies, which is a form of a soul trap, because that's why they're using horizontal gene transfer to transmute the consciousness of humans and put it inside AI technology, because they know that this is the last reincarnation cycle, because we ended the procession of the equinox. So this is the purification period, because they know that in order to to galvanize some type of autonomy and self-preservation on this planet, uh, they need to harvest our souls and put them inside forms of artificial intelligence, because they know that they cannot reincarnate back on this plane because their time is up.
Okay. Um. Next question. Do you think your solar return day is a remembrance of your original home before you came here, like Planet 19 came from Planet Ritz 19th galaxy?
Well, I'm not sure, but well, Planet Riz is actually the eighth planet, and it's in the 19th galaxy. But I'm not in my opinion, I'm not really sure about that one.
Okay, let's get to the next question. How do I tap? He's tape, but I think they mean tap. How do I tap into my higher self godly like?
Like I say, everybody got to come to terms with the afflictions and the trauma. Because when you come to terms with the afflictions and the trauma, like I said, you got to use that energy as an alchemical resource, transmute that negative energy and turn it into a positive. So that when you tap, like I said, that's when you're able to take control of your own reality in this matrix system.
Okay. Somebody said, okay, Candace, damn, yeah, I be forgetting about this. Okay, let me see what y'all say. I got a super chat question. This is damn, I can't put it on the screen. Okay, this is super chat from Chan Robinson. I appreciate the donation, Chan. Chan wants to know what you say that 2025 is also the end of the tribulation period.
No, I wouldn't say it's the end of a tribulation period, but it's the inception point of when you have the 9 year, which is represents completion. It's the completion of an old paradigm into a different life cycle. So this is where you're going to have the dimensional split. So you're going to go from the third dimensional energy to a fifth dimensional energy. Right now we're in the fourth dimension, but like I said, that's where you're going to have the inception point of the fifth dimensional energy that's in the planet, that's activated by the blue star Kachina, that creates this annihilation energy of the fourth world. So that's when you're going to have this phenomenon of the what you call it. How can I say it? You're going to have the activation of sun heat genes, which are prominences. So this is where you're going to be able to tap into your higher abilities. All these things that they said in the superhero movies, and they
Mhm.
said it was all fake and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're going to draw your energy from. That's the main source of energy that Superman drew his energy from. When you understand the mythology, he drew his energy from the solar transmission. But like I said, that's going to be the inception point. They also, like I said, connected to Hopi mythology. They said that around that time, that's where you're going to have the messianic figure show up on the planet.
Okay. Wow. Let's get to another super chat question. What about the Yoruba language? This question was posed earlier when you was talking about the English language being a lockdown language. So I guess this individual want to know what about the Yoruba language. And you was talking about the ancient tongue.
No, I haven't really studied that language.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's ancient Proto-Semitic or not.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody wants to know what are your thoughts on psych meds and how to get off?
Well, I know, like I said, it's psych medicines. Like I said, it puts an encryption on your mental on your neurological chemistry. It puts an encryption on it, so it throws off when you understand when you just understand the inception point of westernized medicine. Westernized medicine was actually created to break down to where you cannot tap into the energy of the soul. So, like I said, the best way to get off of it is through maybe detoxing, uh, having an alternative to where you use something that's more holistic. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I remember Kanye said that when he was on his psych meds, he wasn't as creative as he was as when he was off it. So that's one of the reasons why he wanted to really get off it, because it's creativity, and that's your soul, that creative spark. So
Speaking of that, because like I said, now I'm glad you said that, because when the frequency of the mind is amalgamated with the soul, because when you tapped into the energy of the soul, your brain creates more neurons, and the neurons create dendrites, and the dendrites is the crystals in the brain. So, like I said, that's how you're able to become a whole brain thinker, to where you can tap in on a creative level. So that's actually true. So it takes away your creative energy.
all right, next question. When the pole shift happens, do you think there will be beings who reveal themselves to help the righteous of humanity?
Well, according to Hopi mythology, during the last when we had a pole shift, a lot of those beings took some of these ancient tribes. They took them into the caverns of the earth. So I'm not sure if that's the same thing is going to transpire, but according to all the mythology, they said that there were beings that came to this planet and took them to a different dimension, or they took them inside the caverns of the earth to escape the calamity.
All right. Wow. This is a good show, family. We're gonna do about 3 more questions and then we're gonna get out of here. Let me get to this question. Do I have to be a vegan or controlled diet to tap in and see the astral realms?
Not necessarily, because like I said, everybody on this planet, some of us was incarnated and we have a role to play. So, I don't really get into the dietary system when it comes to stuff like that. But like I said, because you got some people saying that you're not spiritual if you eat meat, and then you got some people saying it don't matter. So, like I said, it's really all about if you're doing the work, and you feel intuitive and genuine about what you're doing, then so be it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed. I just met a lot of spiritual folks who are not vegans, family. A whole lot.
You
But
said you have.
yeah, I have met a lot of folks who, some of the most spiritual people I've met in my journey down here, they definitely were not vegan.
But here's another thing though. Are you really vegan if you speak in an acidic language? Because like I said, the English language is a European Albion dialectic electrical energy. It's acidic to the body. So just as much as you eat chicken or pork or whatever you eating that's acidic to the body, the English language does the same thing. So in order to be highly alkaline, you have to be operating in your native tongue, because like I said, ancient Proto-Semitic language is highly alkaline to the body because it's magnetic.
Mm. Yeah, man. Wow. Let's get to another question. Uh, this is a interesting question. Our original language is the bird language. I guess that's a statement. Our original language is the bird language. That's pretty. You ever heard of that one, BDELL?
Well, I've never heard of that, but I mean, this is the land of Tahuti,
Woo.
so
Uh
I
oh.
mean that makes a lot of sense.
Uh oh. Uh oh. Oh man. Let's get to Candace wants to know how does BDELL see the unfolding of the racial tensions over the next few years?
Well, the reason I say that is because when you understand what's going on from a genetical level, um, there's going to be a certain demographic where the genome is going to be shut down. So this is why they like to perpetuate, uh, how can I say it, different races amalgamating with other races, and they perpetuate it because they know that a certain demographic, their gene pool is going to be shut off due to the energy of these suns that's coming to put the planet right back in balance. So,
Mhm.
like I said, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be the foundation of itself. The racial tension is going to be based on genetical self-preservation.
Mhm. Next question. We're gonna do two more, then we're gonna get out of here, family. Is sign language a part of our culture? Sign language.
Well, I agree. I mean, when you understand the inception of who was here first and who's who, I would say it is. I haven't
Mhm.
really tapped into sign language, so.
Yeah, some people. I was thinking that in my mind. Where somebody just made a comment. Somebody said, "Where did they say that?" Somebody said sign language are mudras. I thought about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely thought about that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is an interesting conversation, family. I thank you for participating in this Q&A. We're gonna do one more question, and then we got to get out of here. Um, we already talked about semen retention for anybody asking about that. All right, let's end it on. Hmm. They want to know your thoughts about telepathy.
Well, telepathy is a real thing. That was the first language.
Hmm.
So I forgot there was a movie that came out probably like 2 years ago. But like I said, everything as far as like your telepathic abilities, like I said, it's going to be activated. It's going to these abilities is going to be online when you have this new sun that's going to be hitting our atmosphere. In my opinion, around 2025. Like I said, you're going to be able to draw those energies, telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance. All these abilities is going to come online, and it's based on uh, the electromagnetic energy of the blue sun. So, like I said, telepathy is a real thing. It's kind of like one of those things. Like some of these abilities is coming online right now. Like you be thinking about somebody and you haven't seen them in a couple of weeks, and then you at Walmart and you run into them.
Right, right.
So, yeah.
Definitely. Let me get this last one because I think this is a good one because we're talking about being highly magnetic, attracting things, and being in isolation, solitude. This person wants to know, when you're in isolation, do you only isolate from people, places, habits, and is music included? I think people got different ways they be in solitude, but what's your thoughts on this question, BDELL?
Yeah, I agree because this is how you know that the planet is speeding up in vibration. So when the planet speeds up in vibration, in order to harmonize with the planet, you got to fast from many different things that subjugate you on a mental level. So, like I said, it comes in a form of how to revitalize your energy. So, like I said, you know that the great majority of everything on this planet is compromised. So, like I said, you have to isolate yourself in order to regain that energy back. So like I said, whether it's, people through family members, ex-boyfriends, girlfriends, and things of that nature, going to parties and stuff, everything is pulling on your energy. So like I said, it's coming down to the point where you have to do everything in increments, because too much of anything is bad for you. So like I said, isolation is key when you want to deviate and tap into your higher self by deviating from everything that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm.
Man, BDELL, man, I definitely want to thank you. One more, I know I keep saying that, but this is really the last one. Your thoughts on the Vatican and the doctrine of discovery. I don't think they got rid of it, but they talked about it. What's your thoughts about that, BDELL?
I haven't really. I keep hearing if somebody keeps sending me stuff about it. I haven't really looked into about what's going on.
Okay, all right. With that being said, once again, BDELL, before we get out of here, please leave your info for those who want to tap in with you, brother. YouTube, Instagram.
Okay, YouTube is BDELL1014. B as in boy, D as in dog, ELL1014. And the same thing for my Instagram, BDELL1014, BDELL1014.
Hey, I want to thank you, my brother, for coming on here once again, man. Every time you've come on here so far, I mean, you absolutely drop it, bro. So
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I advise everybody to follow this brother on Instagram and YouTube. He always has amazing posts, and the brother's on it, man. He's serious about this information. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We still got about 2,800 people in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. I should be on another show tomorrow night, so hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow night. With that being said, we getting out of here, family. Peace.
Peace.
To the best.
Yeah. Hold on.
Peace to the family.
Yes.
Indeed.
Be there, Red Pill. How y'all doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing
I'm doing wonderful. All is well. I'm gratitude.